Going to be looking at social media in business. It is becoming more and more used. It is more regular for people to be on social media and to actually get their news and their information from there. So let's look today at how businesses actually use that. So, first off, why does this matter? First off, when you actually go and look for jobs, employers more and more are looking at your profiles. And one of the things that that means is that what you post is going to make a difference on whether or not you get jobs. So, for example, if you are very political and your political views do not match that of the employers, they're going to instantly throw your application out. If you use profanity or you post things online that do not match what the employer's culture is, then your application again will instantly be thrown out. So this is ways that employers are actually weeding out who they're hiring in advance. And it doesn't take very long for them to do a quick search. So be mindful of what you're actually posting on social media. Your photos shape your image. And we're going to talk a little bit about personal branding here in just a little bit, but your image is going to matter. So be mindful of what you're posting as far as images go. And one post can impact opportunities, which is exactly what I was just telling you, right? So, as you post something, if someone disagrees with it, that is a potential client or an employer, you can instantly lose credibility, and that can be a problem. Personal branding is something that happens whether you want it to or not. Okay. And so I find that it's really important that we are mindful of what our personal brand is. So, what is personal branding? Basically, it is how you present yourself, both online and in person. Okay. So, that means whatever you're posting online, you're telling the world this is who you are and this is who you should see me to be. But then you have to back that up with what you actually do when you interact with people in real life, also. Okay. What people think when they see your profile is how that personal branding is created online. And then how they interact with you in person is how it solidifies what you see online. I am sure that we have all seen where someone looks like they have a perfect life online and then all of a sudden here they're getting divorced, right? Something along those lines. And so you need to make sure that whatever that image is that you're posting online is also what people are seeing in real life. And consistency matters. So if there's a single post, that doesn't mean a lot. But if there's post after post after post, week after week, month after month, then that is where people really see that you are consistent, you are credible, you're somebody who is worth doing business with. So, for example, if you are a small business owner, entrepreneur, and you have a Facebook page and you only post to that page every once in a blue moon when you happen to make something new, right? What people are really seeing in that, the personal brand that you've created, is that you only work occasionally. Might not be true. You might be working all the time, every single day, putting in hours and hours worth of work, but because you're only posting it once every blue moon or at once every time you make a new recipe, it gives the appearance that you don't really work very hard. So that consistency makes a really big difference. Not to mention the algorithms that social media has. If you're not posting consistently, people are very rarely going to see your posts. And so you want to stay in front of their minds, and you do that by posting consistently so that the post comes up in their feed more regularly. One of the great things about social media is that once you become consistent, the possibility to schedule posts comes up. And so then you can actually schedule to have your post done for an entire week as opposed to having to actually go online and post every day. But that does mean you have to plan ahead and build whatever that campaign is going to be. So what your profile says about you, it is going to tell people, are you professional or are you careless? Are you reputable or are you an immature person? Are you credible or is it questionable? Right. And so when you build and maintain your profile, your personal profile, you want to make sure that you keep those things in mind. You want to make sure that it says that you are a professional person, that you are reliable, that you are credible, because when we get into the careless, immature, and questionable, people are instantly going to lose credibility in you, and you do not want that. Okay. Same concept applies if you have a business page. Is it a professional page? Is it a reliable page? Is it a credible page? So keep those things in mind. All right. So, how do we actually build a strong personal brand? First and foremost, you want to make sure that your photos look not exactly professional. The best way to say this is to make sure that they are appropriate. So I know that the PowerPoint says use professional photos, but really what it means is that if you are a food content creator, for example, you do not want to take a picture of food in a super messy kitchen and dirty floors and dirty counters, right? Because the personal brand that that would create is one that says that you do not keep your space clean and the food is not good to eat. So instead, you want to make sure that before you take that photo of whatever you made, you just clean up the mess you made from cooking it so that that's not in the background. That's really what it means by use professional photos. Make sure that they are appropriate for whatever you are creating. Share relevant content. So, for example, if we stick with the food idea, then you could share recipes. You could share food facts about healthy eating, right? Whatever the case may be, you want to share not just photos of food, but also things that are related to that. And that shows that you not only know what tastes good, you also know how to make it, and you understand the nutrients and the macros behind the food. And so that builds credibility because you are showing and showcasing your expertise in the field. Highlight any skills and achievements that you have along the way. All right. This helps again to build that credibility. Um, is very, very similar. We want to make sure that when we are presenting our business's brand, that we have a full understanding of how we want to present ourselves to the public eye. We want to build trust and recognition with our customers, clients, and business partners. And we want to have a consistent voice and message across the board. And that is a really important aspect because if you have multiple people that are posting to your business page, or if you have employees that talk about your company on their own personal pages, then you need to make sure that the voice is consistent. Everyone is saying similar things, they're using the same messaging. That is how we actually build trust and create long-term recognition. And making those decisions early means that you can really drive the success of that campaign. So, examples of business use, obviously, promotions and marketing is one of the biggest ways that people use social media, at least as well as far as um, customers see on a regular basis. Like if you were to think instantly about how businesses are going to use social media, promotions and marketing is what is likely to come to mind. However, customer interactions is actually really high on that list as well, because as that promotions and those marketings go out onto social media, that comment section is where we interact with customers. And so it has to be monitored and you have to have appropriate feedback to those customer interactions. There are positives and negatives to this. If you have a strong business brand and customers are commenting with, "Oh my gosh, this is so good. I love this." Whatever the case may be, then that's fantastic. But every once in a while, you are going to get that customers like, "Oh, this company is terrible," and you're going to get those negative comments. And the ability to reply to those comments quickly is very important, and to take care of any negative comments. It's important not only that you deal with that particular customer, but you want everyone else to see how you interacted with that customer as well. And so basically, what we do is when a customer starts to say something negative, we recognize what they've said, and we encourage them to message or contact us offline or via email, somewhere private, so that we can hear more about what their complaint is, and then help them to come to a good solution. This number one takes the complaint offline, and so it doesn't become an arguing match. And number two, it shows all the other people who are reading that comment that you are a company who takes care of their customers right away. And that's a really important thing to put out there. But the only way to do that is to have somebody monitoring that on a regular basis. Reputation management, this is very similar, right? The way that we handle those customer interactions really is going to be a big part of that reputation management. Making sure that we're posting consistently with one voice, that is reputation management. And making sure that there are no other voices out there saying something different, that is reputation management. So, all of which are very important aspects to business branding. Online credibility is can be very questionable. We present ourselves online in one way, but maybe we act different in offline. And so it's important that, like I said earlier, whatever you're presenting online, you have to be able to back up in person. So being accurate really matters, whether you are being honest and truthful, because when it comes to being in person, you can only be who you are. So don't try to present something that you're not. Um, your tone is going to matter. People read things and very quickly pass judgment. And so you need to make sure that you are always writing in a positive tone, and that you keep negative words off of any post that you do. And what your post actually state, what you actually post stays online forever. There's no way to take it off of there once it's been out. Yes, you can delete a post, you can archive a post, but if somebody screenshots it or shares or whatever, the ability to control it once it's out there is gone. And so you need to make sure that you proofread and that you review everything before it goes out. All right. What hurts your credibility? Unprofessional language, cursing online, or negative comments and emotional posts, spreading misinformation. All of those things are going to kill your credibility. And here is the thing, if you remember from chapter one, we talked about it is very quick to lose credibility, and it takes a very long time to regain that credibility. So you want to be mindful that you maintain a professional language, positive tone, that you do not let your emotions get the best of you, especially when you're commenting back to a customer who maybe has said some things that are not so nice, and never ever spread misinformation. Always be honest, truthful, and transparent. Relations. Um, Social media is often used for public relations. This is how we manage that public image. We make sure that we're constantly putting out there a positive vision of what our company is, what we do, why we do it. This gives us an opportunity to respond to any issues that may arise. Like I said, commenting with customers is one way to do that. But we can also do searches for our company's name and see if there's any additional issues that are out there that we can then respond to online. And then building trust with your audience. So, if there's something that you want your audience to know about your company, you can use social media as a way to get that out there. Sometimes, when they just show up at your shop and buy, let's say you own a boutique and somebody shows up at your shop and they look around and it's beautiful, but maybe you really want people to know that all of your clothing comes from the United States, then you would want to make sure that that is part of what you're putting out there on social media and help your audience to understand what you actually have and what you have to say. And so you are building trust with your audience as well as information. All right, so social media means that you have quick response time. That means you have to monitor your social media. You have a very professional tone and you are transparent. So, no hiding stuff, right? If you are using AI to generate your information, you need to make sure that you are transparent about that, because AI can be very muted and not have really good feel to it. So, be careful. That's a whole nother topic, but be mindful that you're not losing your voice using AI. Okay. When to use social media at work. If you are at work, it is not the time to just scroll on Facebook or Instagram for hours. Okay. The only time you should really be using social media at work is to promote business activities, quick updates for the business, and engaging with customers. So if it's not business related, social media doesn't need to be part of your workplace environment. Leave that for after work if it's your personal stuff. If it is business related, though, then you can do that at work. When not to use social media, complaints and conflicts. We do not engage in complaints and conflicts online. We only respond in a way that will allow us to um, hear that they have a complaint and encourage them to discuss the complaint with us offline. Call customer service or send an email with details to our customer service department. Any sensitive information that your business has, you would never post that online, right? Proprietary information, none of that should ever go online. During work tasks, it can be a distraction. So, again, personal use of social media should never be done at work. All right. Think before you post. So, if you are posting, and this really goes for both your personal and your business accounts, if you're posting and you think about who your boss is, if they were to read it, would they approve of it? I actually had read an article about a lady who had posted some negative things about her work on her personal social media page. And because of that post, she was instantly fired. Talking bad about the company that you work for while you're working there is definitely a fireable offense. Um, and could actually get you in more trouble depending on what it is that you've said. You could be sued for libel, all kinds of things. And so you want to make sure that you do not do that. So whether it is a personal post or a business post, would your boss approve? That is the number one. Would you say this in person? Guys, it is so easy to type out something, right? Text, email, messaging, social media, doesn't matter. If this is something that you would not say to that person's face, it is probably not something that you should post on social media. There is a barrier from the screen that makes many of us feel like there's a protection that we can't get hurt because I can say whatever I want and you're not right in front of me, so you can't yell at me right away. But there are consequences to doing that. For example, if you wouldn't say that to the person in person, then the chances that you could get fired over it is pretty high, and that's not worth it. The chances that it's going to hinder your ability to get a promotion, not worth it. And some of these things you aren't going to see right away, right? Just because they don't come at you right away, oh, you sent me this email and I'm so mad about it. That's not necessarily going to happen, but instead, they're always going to remember. And that memory can affect you for years and years to come. So question yourself before you send something, especially if you feel like it's an emotional thing. Would you say it to the person in to their face? And if the answer is I'm not sure, then don't send it. Okay? Go have the conversation in person and see see how that works out. Okay? All right, next up, will this help or hurt your image? So if you are posting, and one of the questions you need to ask yourself is how will other people respond to this, right? We talked about our audience before and how we want to see how that we want to try to talk in a way that our audience is going to understand. And so it's important that we look at how will our audience actually respond to the message that we just posted. Is it going to make them believe that I am credible and that I have valuable information to say, or is it going to make them believe that I am immature and um, um, lack credibility? And if you ever have to question it, rethink what you're posting. All right, so a couple of really common student mistakes is posting without thinking ahead of time, being way too casual online, and mixing personal and professional. So if you have a small business of your own, make sure that you have a personal account and a professional account. Always post to your professional account whatever your professional things are. You can always share that to your personal page, but you should be posting those initial posts to your professional account. As far as too casual goes, using slang, using poor terminology, bad grammar, misspellings, those are all problems. It makes it so that you lose credibility and customers do not want to work with you because if you can't pay attention enough to fix some of the grammar errors or the spelling errors, then why would you put enough care into the product? Posting without thinking, here again, it's very obvious when you just blurt something out and it has no meaning or no value. And so just be mindful. All right, examples. Complaining about work online. That is a huge no-no. A better way to handle it is to address the issue privately. So if you have some kind, maybe you're not getting along with someone at work, discuss it with that person first. Okay. Try to resolve it amongst yourselves first. And then if that still doesn't help, go to one superior, whatever the lowest superior is in your work chain, and try to see if they can help you resolve the issue. It is important that you take care of any negativity as privately as possible, because as soon as it becomes public knowledge, people start making assumptions. They start, the rumor mill goes crazy. It's like playing telephone, and everybody wants to enhance the story just a little bit. And by the time it actually gets to somebody that matters, it is so blown out of proportion, you're both probably going to get fired. So don't let that happen. Try to deal with any problems as close to the problem as possible, and then branch out from there, as little as you can. All right. So online, when it comes to social media, your online presence is your personal brand. And so you need to make sure that your online, both personal and business online, showcase what you want people to see about you. And then take that information, or take that brand and make sure that that is what you're actually showing in person as well. Protect your credibility. It is so important that you do not lose that credibility, because it is so fast to lose and it is so hard to regain. Use social media strategically. Don't just post anything and everything all the time, right? Religion, politics, for my page, my personal page, those are off limits. I never talk about them because they are too heated of topics. I have my own personal feelings about them, but they are my feelings. And if I post that online, half of the people will instantly uh, no longer believe that I have credibility, because I do not believe the same things that they do, right? The other half will continue to watch and question, and it just becomes a nightmare. So, religion and politics, those are two huge no goes for me. There are other topics as well that you want to be mindful about engaging in. Um, but those, I'm sure you can come up with those topics. And if you have any questions about those topics, I'm more than happy to discuss those if you want to meet. But just be mindful, your social media needs to be strategically used, and you need to maintain your credibility at pretty much all cost. All right. That is it for chapter 9. There is another video for this chapter where we're going to talk about LinkedIn specifically. And so you want to make sure that you're watching that video for your assignment this week. Thanks, guys. Bye bye.